And welcome. Yes, it's the early morning Sunday show. The show you've been just waiting. This is what Sunday's all about. You'll watch this on Sunday. Happy Thanksgiving. For those in the U.S., everyone else are going, so what? Though Canada has their own Thanksgiving. But fun fact, for those not in the States, we almost had named our national bird was almost the turkey. Ben Franklin, one of our forefathers, the guy that flew the kite, and then found electricity, like had like a metal wire or something, and threw the kite into the storm, and the lightning hit it, and discovered electricity. He wanted our national bird to be the turkey. Interesting. So, this is what I think maybe Ben got hit by lightning one too many times when he was thinking about that. I mean, there's almost no bird uglier than the turkey. I mean, we even use its slang for something that's kind of crappy. Man, you bought a turkey, didn't you? And then just think about this. So we have this holiday. We celebrate this because of the Pilgrims who were kicked out of England because of I think, they said it was religious persecution. I'm going to tell you, it was the clothes that they were wearing. I mean, they wore some ugly stuff, and I think that's why UK was much more fashion-oriented than what the Pilgrims were. But we have this holiday where if the turkey was our national bird, I mean, we'd have this celebration where we all get together, our families, our relatives, our friends, and we all get together so we can eat our national bird. Does that really sound right? I mean, right now, I don't go out and shoot a bald eagle just because that's our national bird, to sit and eat it. I'd get arrested and thrown in jail. Would the same thing happen if it was a turkey? Because we got turkeys everywhere. I mean, my neighbor, they're all over the place around here. And they walk in the street, they slow down traffic. They're just ugly as sin. My God, it's just like, it was a joke, when God was just like, I've made all these beautiful birds. You got peacocks, you got parrots, you got all this. Oh, let's just give the birds something really, they got to have something to pick on, and let's make it a turkey. This is pretty freaking ugly. They do fly, though. Just so you know, they do fly. We had them on our roof once, but not too much. They're more of a walker. So, we almost had a national bird that we would eat for a holiday, but thank God, turkey is not our national bird. I don't think it would instill that strength that we look for as Americans. So, yeah, there we go. That's about the turkey. But now, I guess, since we talked about the turkey, we can get into some records, can't we? Please check out the podcast of Jim Gleason, two guys talking about records. Give that a plug. I think we're going to talk about artists that are way up in age, still making music. Is it good? Is it bad? What are our thoughts on that? So that'll be on this week's, along with other things. So check it out. But let's begin with, last week I showed this album, but I had a download card and I forgot to give it. So let's get this out here. I had the Waterboys album and, All Souls, but there was a download card. So saw that afterwards, and I just like to give those out because I'm not downloading it, so someone else can. All right. So the first album, and this one was shown by my friend Mike Rankin, aka Ben Rankin in Australia, and this was the Shed Burner. I talked about Shed Burner the other week, 1981. It was called The 1981. That wasn't the Shed Burner. That was from Sam the Vinyl Douche. This is the Shed Burner. And from Ben, Flying Colors, You Never Know. And hold on 1 minute here. Yeah, there, I have more room. it's getting, all right, forget it. So, Flying Colors. This is a group out of Australia formed in 2011, and they're formed in Melbourne. Melbourne, am I saying that right? Mike, you can tell me. Melbourne, is that how you pronounce it? I would say Melbourne, but I thought I read something that's called Melbourne. I don't speak Australian. I don't even really speak English. But this was inspired by 90s UK's psych and shoegaze type music. So that's where it came from. Kind of a different color. I don't even know what to call that. And we just have this, and that's very purpley. So not a whole lot with the inner sleeve. This album, it has lots of sonic textures. And along with melody in there, and this is extremely good. I really enjoyed this. It came out this year, and it is their third album that they have put out. The keyboards at times, they're almost like pastoral, kind of feeling, and it's just filled with these swirling guitars going on. For instance, there is, I live in a small town. Here's the problem. Yeah, it's nice when they put the titles on the back. Where we go. Oh, I live in a small town. Yeah, that was the one there. And it's spacey, dreamy. It has this real kind of a upbeat type feel to it. I really enjoyed that one. Goodbye to Music was a very interesting one here. Let's see, Goodbye to Music. And it's about, they're singing about hearing loss. And, the vocalist, I don't have his name right down here, Brody Broomer, Gemma O'Connor, Melanie Barbaro. Well, those are different names. All right, but he's singing about hearing loss, on how when he was younger, he never took care of his hearing, and now he has this hearing loss, and kind of laminating about, I was so stupid. And as a guy who wears a hearing aid, I get that. I screwed my hearing up when I was quite young in one ear, but that was more stupidity. But, well, this could be stupidity too. So, playing all this loud music has destroyed his hearing, and that's what he's singing about. Modern Dreams is like jangle pop almost. It just has this catchy, beautiful melody going on. This album from the Flying Colors, you never know, will probably be in my top 10 for the year. I think it's that good of an album. I totally enjoy this. This is a barn burner in the United States, shed burner in Australia. In the U.S., it's bigger than that. We're burning a barn for it, and it is. This was extremely good. So. It's not, there's shoegaze elements in there, there's little psych elements, but there's a lot of beautiful pop melody happening, and a really beautiful record. So great. Mike, Ben, really good, really good. I'm glad you showed that. I never would have bought it. So. Then we go into this. This is from the Bill Young collection. And as I purchased that, it's the Runaways. It's their second album, American Teenage Rock and Roll. Yes. And it is, got a nice inner sleeve here. We got a couple things in here. Lookout Records. That's nice. And we have the Donna's Calendar. Yeah. So that's some nice extras in here. I like that. It's always fun. In great shape. Again, came from the Bill Young collection. Bill took very good care of his records. So, really nice. So the Donnas. The Donnas was a California band formed in 1993 and broke up in 2012. At age 14, actually, they got together to form a band. None of them knew how to play an instrument. That didn't matter. We're forming a band, which is how you do it. And so they did. They learned their instruments, and away they went. Their inspirations, the Ramones, the Runaways, both of those you really hear on this. I mean, it's very, very evident. But they also listed like Bachman Turner Overdrive, yeah, and Kiss as part of the people that really inspired them. They started when they called themselves, the first banding was the Electro Cuties. Isn't that fun? And they were kind of like a metal queen band. So, but then they decided we're going to soften our sound, and they called themselves the Donnas, and they each took the name of, they each called themselves Donna. Now, there's different types of Donna, Donna C, Donna A, Donna R, but that was what they were going to do for fun. So we're going to call ourselves Donna. And, they said they softened their sound. This is just really hard rock. I mean, very, very much hard rock. You have the rock and roll machine. And they're just going on about parents and about how they don't let them party and smoke and drink and all that. It's pure sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Yes. That's what this is about. And it's just, there's nothing new on here. Nothing. They're making no new ground whatsoever within the musical realm. They're just having some fun. And again, it is like an ode to the Ramones and ode to the Runaways. It really has that. Just straight ahead rock and roll. So, fun stuff. It was just good. Again, just anytime I get albums from my friend Bill, it's always nice. So this is their second album, came out in 1998, American Teenage Rock and Roll Machine. Always fun to have an original stuff like this. So very nice. I found this in a store in Lansing. And before I didn't recognize the cover at first. All I saw was all this crap on it. It's a radio. But this is the Breeders' first album, Pod. I've never seen one out in the wild. I've never seen an original. So it was rather exciting to see that there. Once you get past the fact that it is totally has all this writing on here, but it has the inner sleeve. So, with a kind of an eel or a salamander thing. I don't know. Maybe it's probably an eel. It's just icky. And that, okay. So, the Breeders, which kind of an interesting name for a group. It was thought to be, they called themselves that. They wanted to be controversial. Kim and Kelly Deal's group. They formed, they're actually out of Dayton, Ohio, which I did not know they were from Dayton, where all the funk came from. Formed in 89, broke up in 95, formed again in 96, broke up in 03, they formed together in 08, supposedly still going. It's a lot. Kim Deal and Tanya Donnelly from the Throwing Muses actually, kind of formed the group, both as a side project. Kim Deal was a little upset because, the Pixies weren't using a lot of her music. So this was a way for her to come and write more songs and to put out an album. And so Tanya Darling did it with her. Well, this is their first album, came out in 1990. And after this, Donnelly left, and supposedly because they didn't use a lot of her music on it, so she went on and formed Belly. And these kept, but then the Pixies broke up, so Kim Deal became full-time with the Breeders, and they came out with their great album, Last Splash, that had Cannonball on there, which is well known. But Kurt Cobain, he talked about this album as one of his all-time favorite albums. So that was a huge plug for them. It was done for only $11,000, and Steve Albini came in to do it. They just had a tiny budget, but by that time, Albini, he was the guru. Everyone, he was making all kinds of these albums, producing. He was the man in demand. And on there, they had Josephine Wigg was on here. She came from the Perfect Disaster, playing bass. And the drums on this album was from Bill Walford, and he was from Slint, the drummer from Slint. But yeah, this album's a blend of Pixies punk, but also the Throwing Muses pop. You can feel both of that in here. Kim Deal described the music as ugly, stinky, gross songs. I mean, if that doesn't make you, if that's not appealing to you, I don't know what would be. I mean, that's how she describes it. It's about mutilation, abortion, bad TV. This is not sunshine here. It was just like, wow. Yeah, it's pretty tough stuff. I mean, there's one song, it's called Iris, and there's these beautiful violins, and it's soft and quiet, but the song's about a woman having an abortion, and the fetus doesn't die. Wow. I mean, wow. So it's like, that's heavy. They do a historical one. It's called Limehouse, and it's about London in the 19th century in the Opium District. So, I mean, there we go. We do history on here. It's kind of creepy. It's dark. It's edgy. It's rocking. It is something different. So, yeah, we got the extra, some black tape here. We got this. But it was fun. It is an original, and it is in incredibly good shape off 480 records. So, The Breeders' Pot. I found this. This is a reissue. Katherine Wheel. And this was, I think, their third album. Katherine Wheel, a band from the UK. And they formed in 1990, broke up in 00, the Aughts. Good band. I mean, they started as a shoegaze band, and I always thought of them kind of as shoegaze. But the time this came out, they were more alternative, heading toward metal, you could say. So, one, and here's the other inner sleeves. Oh, look at that, man! That's a big set they made. Don't we all want a crib? As you get older, you just think, well, I'll probably need a crib so I don't fall out of bed anymore. So, yeah. So, there we go. So, Katherine Wheel, alt-rock, shoegaze. And again, they just kind of moved from the shoegaze into more of an aggressive alt-hard rock. And you could say even metal is where they were going. Just you having to change your sounds. The shoegaze was the early 90s. That was dying down. What are we going to do? This was their third out of 5 albums. It's called Happy Days. And this came out in 1995. And it's just filled with really hard shards of guitar and just this furious pounding bass drum is going on. It is, especially the first album, extremely fast and hard. They do have some softer type music, like soft, was it Soft Heel on here? You can never find it. But even on the softer type sounds, softer type songs are still heavy guitar kind of happening. The second LP is much quieter than the first LP, so they are a little different that way. There's a thing, it's called, was it Just Judy Staring at the Sun was one. And Tanya Donnelly from, the Pods, she comes in, she sings a duet on that one. Way Down was another very neat song, just blistering, pummeling, and I guess that became a single. Really cool stuff. It's yeah, it really, if the very first song, when you put that needle down, it is like alt metal, very very hard, but it does quiet in. I was kind of thinking, I was expecting more of a shoegazy type thing, so it was not what I was expecting. I have some other Katherine Wheel, and I think it falls more into that category. So this wasn't what I was expecting. I liked it. I didn't think it was outstanding, something that, man, I got to play again and again. It wasn't that way for me. I felt when they got a little softer, maybe it was a little bit better, but yeah, Katherine Wheel's third album here. Happy Days. Happy Days are here again. Okay, let's move on here so we get this thing done today. Kate Bush. Can you believe that? I'm showing Kate Bush. My first trip to the UK in '81. Adam Ant and Kate Bush. Those were the two. Those were the two artists that were all over the TV sets, that were all over the radio. And I wound up buying Kate Bush. I bought her first album, The Kick Inside. It came out in '78. I was there in '81. I bought another Kate Bush too. It's the Central World. I don't remember which one. Doesn't matter. But she was born in '58. She's a year older than I am. She actually started writing music at age 11. By age 16, she'd made a demo tape, and someone had gotten a hold of that demo tape and gave it to David Gilmour. And David Gilmour really liked it. And so he got a hold of Kate Bush and helped her, working with someone else, produce a much more professional demo. It was picked up by a music company. That was back in '76. Well, she didn't put out anything right away because for the next 2 years, the company was trying to groom her, teach her interpretive dance, different things to make her into more than just a star, into a super big talent. So they were really working on it. Well, during that time, because her first album was released in '78, she had written over 200 songs. So she had a lot inside of her that she was trying to do and really going, make it, writing. This one here, this is Hounds of Love, and this came out in 1985, and this was her fifth album. This is I believe, the first one that she produced herself. She made her own recording studio in her house, and she did it all, took total control of what was going on. And so side one has pop songs. There's 5 songs. 4 of them were actual singles. This is the album that took off in America due to Running Up That Hill. It calls A Deal with God. She wanted to call it A Deal with God, and the record company going, well, gee whiz, I don't know, we're using the word God, and can we do that? Obviously, they hadn't heard XTC's, or maybe they had heard already XTC's Dear God. So they're going, God, I don't know, there's a lot of issues by using that, especially in the U.S. We tend not to like that as much. But so they changed it to Running Up That Hill, A Deal with God. Beautiful song. Really beautiful. Very 80s feel to it, but I still enjoy that to this day. Side 2, though, is different. That is called The Ninth Wave, and there's like 9 songs, and it's made to flow, almost like a like you would think of a symphony in that. It was inspired by a Tennyson poem called The Ides of the King, which is about King Arthur. And so that was kind of the basis for what she made on there. Continuous Peace. It's okay. It's not my thing on there. Probably more prog oriented, I guess, maybe. I liked side one better with the pop songs, but still not bad. It was good. So this actually did quite well in the U.S. and really got her even more noticed. But she is a UK icon, shall we say. Still out there, still singing. Not quite as young looking, but her voice, yeah. Some love it. Some think it's the greatest. Myself, I can handle it. There's worse voices out there. It's very high. It's different, but it is beautiful. Okay, we're gonna give her. It's a beautiful. It's different. Finally today, quick, the box tops, the letter Rainbow, and Alex Chilton's group, formed in Memphis in 67, broke up in 70. They actually reformed in 96, broke up in, what was it, 20? I think the aughts. They've reformed again. Don't have the original inner sleeve. It's on Bell Records. The album cover has been in a bunch of water. It's not mine. This is not my flood. Someone else had a bunch of water, so yeah, it's all wrinkly. The vinyl sounds really good. It wasn't crackly or anything, so I'm not going to complain. The box tops, they're called the DeVilles. They started at that. But then there was a band in New York called the DeVilles, so they named themselves the Box Tops. They wrote the single, The Letter, and it took off. Then they wrote another single called Neon Rainbow, which is called The Letter Neon Rainbow. And someone wrote on there too. And that took off, so they needed to make an album. And this is what they did. Very much Memphis soul. This is blue-eyed soul at its finest. There is just some incredibly good stuff. Happy Times just has this wonderful bass going on. Go and find somebody. I'm playing a sample of that. Phenomenal organ, phenomenal horns happening, very soulful. Of course, you have The Letter, which is a fantastic song. From 67 to 68, they knocked out 3 albums. They were hot with this, so the record companies just had them toss out albums, 3 of them within a year's span, which is why quality of songwriting tended to drop, because you were in the machine, baby, and that's what you had to do. The great session players on it. Bobby Womack is one of the session players. So, yeah, this is great. Again, not the greatest thing in the world, but it was great price, so it's a chance to have this classic album. So that's what we got for this week. Hope you enjoyed that. I know I enjoyed it. So I had fun. Hopefully you had fun. So happy Thanksgiving again. Let's go eat what would have been our national turkey. Everyone else around the world, feel free. Find a turkey. Eat it with us. Thursday. All of us. Let's eat the turkey. It's ugly anyway. So, its mom likes it, I'm sure. But yeah, let's take down the turkey. Thanks, everyone. Bye.